Well, welcome to Conversations with Rotary Action People, everyone, for Monday, June 21st. Walter, take it away, sir.
Okay. I want to share today the work that I do in Africa. And let me see if I can get this share going. Okay, and okay, Donald, let me see.
Share screen at the bottom, in the middle.
Yeah.
Green.
And it's sharing the presentation. Okay, now if I do from the beginning, okay, do you see the top 10 reasons to serve?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get going. Okay, today I want to talk about the top 10 reasons. And for me, our club wanted to drill one well. That was our goal. And that has gone from one well to about $4.9 million worth of Rotary projects. And so to be a president-elect, and welcome for those that are on the call today, we impact our hometown and we change people we know, and we work with other leaders and we impact people around the world. And today I'm going to talk about how it's compatible to do work at
Is it just me, or is Walter frozen again?
He is frozen.
world. And so the first reason to be a Rotarian is, for me, was to spend time with Dad. And so Dad was a Rotarian for many, many years. And so he asked for me to join the club. And I thought it was a great way to spend time with him and get to know the people that he knew in the community. And the reason number two is God's call. In Luke, there's a scripture that says, to those that much is given, much more is demanded. And reason number three is that my faith has overcome the fear. I went to a community in a bus from the south of Ghana to Tamale, and Tamale is about 80% Muslim. And a few years before, I had been through that town where I had learned they had beheaded the chief and the elders because they had served too long. So it took a lot to get on that bus and meet the Rotarians in that town. And so sometimes you've got to overcome your fear to get going on a project. And then part of that is having the faith to overcome the fear during a war zone. We raised $302,000 for wells in South Sudan in 2013. The money was approved the same month the Civil War resumed. And the previous war had gone for 20 years. And so I asked the Rotary Foundation if they could stop the grant, but the money had already been paid to South Sudan. So during the current war, we drilled wells and changed lives. And then in 2015, I went to see the water flowing during the war. And it's one of those pieces that you realize that as a Rotarian, you've got to be involved in making a difference. And people need that also when there's when we've got war going on. Rotarians still want to change their country. And reason number four is honoring people that have served before us. And Ron Ferrell was my mentor, really taught me how to keep your word and to change lives. I was under him with as grants chair, and then he became Rotary International Director. And so the Yahama preschool we're building is to honor Ron Ferrell. And so many times the people that have come before us inspire us to keep going. And Ron Ferrell is one of those. And reason number five is champions forging ahead. Larry Rose was one of our first partners. He's from Buffalo, New York, in the club of West Seneca. And Larry told his club every year, hey, it's great to do work here in Buffalo, but we also need to do work to drill wells in Africa. And so he made it his lifelong purpose to raise money by shredding paper to drill wells in Africa. And so every year, Larry would call and say, hey, we've got more money for a well in Africa. And Gary Bradham Ann Matthews, David Michaud. There's so many people that have been champions of the efforts. And Ann, her passion is education. Gary loves schools. Part of it's because Susan is an educator. So whether your passion is water and sanitation or education and literacy, there's something to champion. And they've been big encouragers for me. And then reason number 6 is serving the children. And if you've seen a child hunger for education or thirst for clean water, it's hard to stop. And so we've done that time after time. And when you see the children reaching out for that drink of water, it makes all the difference. And then reason number 7 is empowering leaders. Nana Mensa was one of those leaders that kept contacting me to say, hey, I want to partner with your club and partner with the clubs in the US. And I said, Nana, I can't work with you. We have too many partners. And Nana kept emailing and calling and texting. And every time I'd say no, and then he sent pictures saying, hey, what if we drill our own well? So they drilled a well and built toilets and sent me pictures and said, look what we've done on our own. But imagine what we could do if we have a bigger team. And so I had a hard time saying no to Nana. He's the guy in the red shirts, and he's teaching a whole new generation of leaders in Ghana and teaching these women in this picture how to start their own businesses and get a microcredit loan. And then encouraging leaders here at home. We want to have leaders here in America that are passionate about changing lives. And David Rosenthal on the left and Sue on the right. Sue went with me on the trip in 2019 and saw a need for baby incubator blankets. And so they've just delivered medical equipment to Ghana because she saw the need on that last trip. And reason number 8 is the team bonds. And once we have a team, and District 7770 is key on that team. And I really appreciate that bond that forms with the team members who go and the team members who help work on these projects. And the team keeps people going forward. And then 9 is the mission of Rotary is to serve others and promote integrity and understand people of our world and develop goodwill and build peace. And many cases, Rotarians can go into places that other people can't go because of our reputation for serving in that country and the reputation for keeping our word. And reason number 10 is transforming lives is addictive. And we really want to go ahead and keep going on projects because of that transformation. And we impact the poor in many ways. These 2 villages are 2 communities that we serve in Ghana. And so they have a strong family, but it's hard farming. It's hard making a living. And if you don't have water and sanitation and good food, it's hard to really survive. And dirty water is a key part of that problem. And these pictures were taken by the RI film crew. And I was saying, hey, we're trying to make these pictures obsolete, but there's still places. And I just got a video this morning of really dirty water in northwestern Ghana, where people will no longer have to drink that water as of today because we drilled a well in that community. And 4.1 out of 7.5 billion people in the world need good sanitation. About 75% of the world population now has water to drink, but half the population still needs good sanitation. And sanitation helps to reduce the pollution for soil and water. So getting sanitation going makes a huge difference. And we can prevent 75% of the waterborne diseases deaths by drinking clean water, using toilets, and washing our hands with soap and water, and training about hygiene. And so all 4 steps make a huge difference. And over the last 7 years, we have made a huge difference. $398,000 is the impact on just the projects that have been partnering with me and our efforts. So that's $125,000 in club gifts, 105,000 in DDF, and combined with the Rotary Foundation match, that's $400,000 of impact. And so thank you very much to each and every club and Rotary district piece. And one example is grant 1872002. We impacted 37,000 lives by drilling 18 new small town water systems and providing over 400 microflush toilets. The total budget was $185,000. And we're also doing microcredit loans to fund small businesses, mainly to impact women, and to have farm loans, loans for wells and for toilets. And so we saw that the need for disease in 2006. So I've been in this efforts for 15 years when our club was one well. And this is guinea worm disease. It's a parasite that lives in your body for a year, and it feels like a hot iron's been stuck to your skin when it comes out. And these were children impacted by that disease. And it's just one of those things, once you see it, you'll never forget it. But now in South Sudan and in Ghana, this disease no longer exists. And Rotary had a part to do with that. And we're building our 10th school now. The first school started in 2005. So it's been amazing that over 10 years, over this time, we have 10 schools being built. And one of those examples is a bonsai. It was a little girl who came up to President Patty Affa. She says, "I want to be a doctor someday." And the women laughed at the little girl because they said she can't even go to elementary school. But Patty went to her club and talked to the Rotarians here, and we built that school in a bonsai. And so maybe she can't help with this pandemic, but a future pandemic, that little girl can be a doctor and she can change lives too. And so here's the Yahama preschool. It was a shed that you would put cattle in. And now this is a modern elementary school, and they just dedicated the school 2 weeks ago. And these elementary schools we're building have 6 classrooms and textbooks and library books, solar lights and computers, toilet block, a library and an activity hall, and a new well to drink. These were part of a 3-year pilot program that Rotary put forth, and we're finishing those schools now. We hope to do a grant this year that a Rotarian left money in his will to build a school, but we don't have the money to put the books, desks, chairs, tables, and library books in that school. So we're hoping that District 7770 can lead the effort to write a grant to put the stuffings in that school so that the kids have the textbooks and library books to read. And so that's one project that we're hoping that you do. So here's HIAMANKYENE Elementary School, and that's before. This is HIAMANKYENE after. And it's just exciting in the most remote areas seeing these changes happen. And you work in one area and then you move it onto another piece. And so they ask for education, then they ask for economic development, then they ask for health and disease prevention. But what we're doing is empowering leaders. And this is a new junior high with the lights on. And so in Crancrum Elementary School was a completely funded by District 7770. And it was Gary Bradham's year. I met him at the district conference, the international convention. And Gary said, "I would love to build a school." And out of that came the Crancrum Elementary School. And children are now learning in this school, and it's such a remote place. But South Carolina Rotarians were involved in making this happen. And so the water and sanitation grant for 21-22, we want to empower girls and women, provide microcredit loans, and provide school toilets, new wells, and finish Sawa Elementary School, which is the school that I just mentioned, where we can write a grant. So hopefully what we're looking at is 2 grants, one for water and sanitation and one for to fill a school with the necessary stuff to educate children. And so the request is to please promote these projects to your clubs and talk about them. And I'd be glad to talk to the clubs, to your clubs about these projects. And
Looks like Walter's frozen again.
And so if you've got a dream, I'd be glad to teach you how to do one well and make it happen. So the question for me to the leaders on this call is, what's your top 10 reasons for changing lives? Okay. So that's me and the talk today. Mary?
Thank you for jumping on, Walter. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Walter, thanks. And I know you got to go. So if we have any questions, how about if I just send them to you and we'll send them out to everybody?
Sounds good. Okay? And Helen Ryan, she's on the call.
Yes.
It's good to have Helen. It's good to hear from you. We will send out a summary of the 2 projects for any clubs who want to provide support. And we just really
Walter,
appreciate
Mimi
the
Fisher
support.
Mimi Fisher is also on the call, and I think she helped fund that.
Oh, yeah, Mimi.
Helped fund that school, yes.
Yeah. And,
yes. Hi, Walter.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so glad to know the school is finished and up and running. Thank you.
Yes. It's exciting. And I'm hoping to go in September with my wife, Lisa. So we'll see those schools in action. We'll take a team next in 2022. I just want to go where it's just not quite as. I want to be safer before I take a big group again.
Right, I understand. Well, best to you.
But thank you, Mimi. I really appreciate your support, and so did the children. It's so exciting to see their enthusiasm for learning in those schools.
Well, also, Walter, you know, our club gave money too. They matched.
Right, 5 points. Yes.
Yes.
So our support from South Carolina Rotarians is very impressive. And we've had some major donors along the way that have made a huge difference too.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, our average contribution from a club is usually about $1,000. That's what the average club does. But 5 points, I think it was $5,000 that they contributed to the school project.
Right.
Yeah. And Lou, I can't say enough about you. So I really appreciate the whole team.
Well, we've been doing this for quite a while. I think we really kicked it off from this district around 2011, 2012, kind of got it really rock and rolling. I have a quick question. Walter, do you think the World Fund 80% match is going to have much of an impact on your grants at this point?
I think it will, Lou. It's discouraging to take away the match from clubs and then to take 80% match for DDF. It's going to reduce the size of the projects. I think they'll still be large, but it's so much harder to do work when you don't get matching funds from the clubs and major donors or 80% of the DDF. So it's one of those pieces that I wish they would have kept a partial match for Rotarians and clubs and then kept 100% match for DDF. So it's one of those things I don't really disagree with. Well, I've got to run, and love all of you so much.
Thanks, Walter.
Thank you, Walter.
You're welcome.
I will say he said DDF several times, and some of you may be saying, what is DDF? District Designated Funds. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Can someone explain that better than me to people on the call?
Maybe somebody who's got a little foundation experience. Paul, you go ahead. You're the incoming gov.
The DDF, or district designated funds, are what we receive back at the district level from contributions that were made to the annual fund 3 years ago. So when funds are raised on an annual basis, half of those funds that particular year come back to us to be used in the district for things like district grants, the $2,500 that each club can potentially apply for a grant in your community. They'll be matched by the DDF funds. We also contribute part of that DDF to polio, and we as a district have historically participated in 20% of our DDF going to polio, and then in some cases a little bit more. We fund peace centers, $25,000 with DDF, and then we fund things like this, the district or the global grants that clubs come up with and present to myself or the district governor at the time and or the foundation chair, so that we can then help to fund those district grants, global grants that would be funded through DDF. We love acronyms in Rotary, so yes, I'm glad you asked what the heck DDF is. Pauline, you want to interject in there? What did I forget?
You didn't forget anything. I just feel like there's a number of other ways we use our DDF too. We have our matching grants, our global scholars. We also contribute to other districts around the world that have a worthy grant that we might be interested in. For instance, the India grant we participated in at a $10,000 level, and they did get a match. Their club matched it, and so did Rotary International for the vaccine. We also received a grant for $25,000 from the Disaster Relief Fund. So it's not always us sending money, but we did receive money coming back from Rotary International, which the $25,000 was a response to COVID, and it went to a number of organizations in our district for food. But it's the magic of the foundation, right? And the DDF that comes back to us is the magic that makes a lot of good in our district happen.
We're going to have to change our slideshows on July 1st to reflect the new matching numbers. Used to be 3.5 to 1. Now it's going to be like closer to 3, maybe not even that much, but it's still a magnificent way to use your money to help kids, help education, help women around the world. It really is.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, that I've seen that clubs anticipating grants that they're working on have not found it to be a problem to raise the money without the match. So I wouldn't get too concerned about it. I mean, I know it's nice to get more money, right? But I don't think it's going to impact the decision of a Rotarian or a club to do good in the world. And now this gives more money for more people to participate, taking that match money and putting it toward more grants and expanding into our areas of focus, right? So I think it's a positive thing. I understand the frustration that Walter might have about the match, but you know, it's still the best program going.
And to add to that, if you look at it another way, I mean, we're a victim of our own success. I mean, having the number of global grants that we've had over the years, that level has increased. However, giving to the annual fund has not increased at the same pace. So it's good that we're getting the funds out there to do good in the world, but we also need to be mindful of the annual fund and how that DDF number is ultimately funded. So it is something that we're proud to have, and those global grants that are funded through that channel, it's fantastic, and they'll still continue on, as Pauline says, and I don't think that's going to be a hindrance in any way for us to continue to do good in the world.
Excellent. And then I'll say one thing, you saw a couple photos that Walter posted that had like text going across the photo, like "Together we inspire" with the Rotary logo. Guys out there, you have the option of putting these on your same photos as well. It's a free service. Just go to POAphotos.com. POAphotos.com. And POA stands for People of Action. And you can get all kind of different logos to put on your photos. And it's really good to do. And I'll put that in the chat box real quick.
And I would further encourage that as our branding. I mean, that's part of what we're here to do and get the word out as to what we do from the standpoint of good in our communities and the world. And if we can keep that branding up, as opposed to putting out multiple different messages, listen to what Donald is saying.
Excellent. So those of you on here, next week, we will hear from our district governor, Pauline, to put a wrap on her year with us on CWRAP. If you remember, Pauline, it was her vision to start this CWRAP. So we're going to end her year with a wrap. And
Can you rename it for next week for like SHE-WRAP?
SHE-WRAP. There you go. Look at there. Pauline wrap. Levesque wrap. And then July 5th, we do not have a CWRAP for the July 4th holiday. So did I miss
Call
any?
it PRAP.
PRAP. Yeah, PRAP. Next week will be PRAP. So, and
Oh, Lord. I'm going to miss this. That's for sure.
I
I'm
know.
definitely going to miss it.
The Mary and Donald show, ragging on Pauline. Gotcha.
Or
Sorry,
anybody. Or anybody. It's good. It's all good. It's
It's
fun.
all good.
I love it. Yeah.
It'll be permanent dinner guest very soon.
excellent. So I don't have any further announcements. Mary, did I miss anything? All right, we'll conclude, folks, with the Rotary four-way test. If you want to stick around, we do stick around and socialize for a few minutes. If you want to stick around, maybe ask a question that you didn't want to ask in front of the group. All right. With that being said, here's the Rotary four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a great Monday. Hopefully we'll see some of you in Lake City on Saturday night for Mr. Paul Walters' installation. And we'll see you back here next Monday for the PRAP with Pauline to put a bow on her year as district governor. Take care, folks. Have a great week. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.